Good morning, everyone. We will begin today's session with a prayer. I request Stacy to sing the prayer.
ശബളാഭമാം ശലഭത്തിലും സന്തതം കരതാരിലിന്നൊരു ചിത്രചാതുരി കാട്ടിയും അന്തസാരുകാക്ഷമാലകളരശ്മിയിൽ മീട്ടിയും ചിന്തയമണി മന്ദിരത്തിൽ വിളങ്ങുമീശനെ വാഴ്ത്തുവിൻ ചന്ദ്രമീഴിയ പൂവിലും ശബളാഭമാം ശലഭത്തിലും സന്തതം കരളിലിന്നൊരു ചിത്രചാതുരികായും അന്തചാരുകളാക്ഷമാലകളർത്തരശ്മിയും ചിന്തയാമന്ദിരത്തിൽ വിളങ്ങുമീശനെ വാഴ്ത്തുവിൻ വിളങ്ങുമീശനെ വാഴ്ത്തുവിൻ വിളങ്ങുമീശനെ വാഴ്ത്തുവിൻ.
Thank you for that. So, welcome back, everyone. So, today we continue with what we had been discussing in the previous class. The last session, we had taken up the conversation between Priya and Kannan, where Kannan was making some errors, mostly related to tense and ability. So these were the errors that he made. We will discuss what those errors are and what can happen if we use one in place of the other. So, let us look at those errors. What were the errors that he made and why they are errors? So when we take up errors, we should also understand why those are considered errors and how we can correct them. So we'll look up those errors today. So in the beginning, he said that I can be able to multitask without a problem. So that is the first error that he makes. And why is it wrong? So it is not wrong to say that I am able to multitask or I can multitask. Both are correct. But to use them together, that is wrong. So that was the mistake that Kannan made. Instead of saying I can multitask or I am able to multitask, he said I can be able to multitask. So that is wrong. So that is the error that he made, and this is the correction. The next one, I was alert after that, so I could manage the show afterwards. So what is the error? Here it is the use of could. Could here is used by Kannan to indicate his ability. But when you talk about an ability which happened as a result of something, എന്തെങ്കിലും ഒന്ന് ചെയ്തതിന്റെ ഫലമായിട്ടുള്ള ഉണ്ടായ ഒരു കഴിവിനെ കുറിച്ച് പറയുമ്പോൾ യു സേ വാസ് ഏബിൾ ടു. So instead of saying I could, he should say I was able to. I was alert after that, so I was able to manage the show afterwards. So that is the rule exemplified here. The rule is the third rule. We talk about the ability or an opportunity that resulted in a particular action or event was or were able to is used, not could. അവ രണ്ടിനും ഒരേ അർത്ഥമാണ്. വാസ് ഏബിൾ ടു എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാലും കുഡ് എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാലും ഒരേ അർത്ഥമാണ്. ബട്ട് ഇൻ ഡിഫറെൻറ്റ് സിറ്റുവേഷൻസ് ഇറ്റ് ഈസ് യൂസ്ഡ് ഡിഫറെൻ്റ്ലി. So when you talk about an action that resulted in that action because of a particular situation, then was able to is used. That is the second error. The third one, he says, I don't think it is a good idea to eat outside food for so many days. So we have been discussing റീജിയണൽ ഇൻ്റർഫറൻസ് ഓഫ് ലാംഗ്വേജ്. നമ്മുടെ മാതൃഭാഷയുടെ ഇൻ്റർഫറൻസ് കൊണ്ട് വരുന്ന പ്രശ്നങ്ങൾ. അതുകൊണ്ട് there are certain usages which are considered idiomatic. Idiomatic means standard. So certain usages are idiomatic in English, certain usages are not idiomatic in English. സോ ഔട്ട്സൈഡ് ഫുഡ് എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ പുറത്ത് കിടക്കുന്ന ഭക്ഷണം എന്നുള്ളൊരു അർത്ഥം മാത്രമേ അതിന് തോന്നുള്ളൂ. നമ്മൾ പുറമേ നിന്ന് വാങ്ങി കഴിക്കുന്ന ഭക്ഷണം എന്ന അർത്ഥത്തിലുള്ളതിനെ അങ്ങനെ ട്രാൻസ്ലേറ്റ് ചെയ്തിട്ട് നമ്മൾ ഔട്ട്സൈഡ് ഫുഡ് എന്ന് പറയുന്നത് തെറ്റാണ്. സോ ഇൻ ഇംഗ്ലീഷ് ദ സ്റ്റാൻഡേർഡ് യൂസേജ് ഇസ് ടു സേ ടു ഈറ്റ് ഔട്ട്. അങ്ങനെയാണ് നേറ്റീവ് സ്പീക്കേഴ്സ്, അതായത് ഇംഗ്ലീഷിൽ, നാച്ചുറലായിട്ടുള്ള ഇംഗ്ലീഷിൽ പറയുന്നത് നേറ്റീവ് ഫുഡാണ്. സോ ഇറ്റ് ഈസ് ആൻ എക്സാമ്പിൾ ഓഫ് ഇന്ത്യനിസം. Indianism means used all over India in a wrong manner. So it becomes an Indianism. It may be acceptable in India, but it is not standard usage. It happens as a result of, as we discussed in this class, as a result of mother tongue interference or MTI. So this is the correction that he has to make. So instead of saying, I don't think it is a good idea to eat outside food, Anand should have said, I don't think it is a good idea to eat out. In a second error, there is another error that he makes. He says, for so many days. അതും ഒരു very slang-like usage. For so many days എന്നുള്ളതിന് പകരം he could have easily said, so often എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ മതി. For so many days എന്ന് പറയുന്നതിനേക്കാളും ഔട്ട്സൈഡ് ഫുഡ് എന്നുള്ളതിന് പകരം ടു ഈറ്റ് ഔട്ട് സോ ഓഫൺ എന്നുള്ളതായിരിക്കും കൂടുതൽ ശരി. ടു ഈറ്റ് ഔട്ട് സോ ഓഫൺ വുഡ് ഹാവ് ബീൻ എ ബെറ്റർ യൂസേജ്. സോ ഇൻസ്റ്റെഡ് ഓഫ് സെയിങ് ഫോർ സോ മെനി ഡേയ്സ് ഹി കുഡ് സേ ഈറ്റ് ഔട്ട് സോ ഓഫൺ. So that is the correction that would have made his language better. Then next one, I can cook like anything. So that is also an Indianism. Like anything. I can write like anything. I can speak like anything. And like anything is a very common Indianism, which does not sound good. So it may be acceptable in a very informal situation when you are talking to friends and all, it may be very acceptable. But even there, if you practice saying that, you are likely to make such usages even in formal situations. So it is better avoided. If you make such usages, try to correct them, don't use them. I can just say I can cook very well. So this is the correction. This is another example of Indianism. In idiomatic English, idiomatic, as I said, is in standard English. In standard English, we say, I can cook very well, I can cook extremely well, etc. So these usages, can, could, etc., they all come under the category of what are known as auxiliaries. Okay, so they are called auxiliaries. 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 What are auxiliaries? Auxiliaries are helping verbs. Okay, so some pairs of sentences are given here, and there are some rules which are given below. So what you have to do is you have to find out what rule applies where. There are four sets of sentences here. ഈ നാല് സെറ്റ് ഓഫ് സെൻറ്റൻസസിന് നാല് റൂൾ ഇവിടെ കൊടുത്തിട്ടുണ്ട്. ഇതിൽ ഏത് റൂളാണ് ഇവിടെ അപ്ലൈ ആകുന്നതെന്നുള്ളത് നമ്മൾ കണ്ടുപിടിക്കണം. ഓക്കെ, സോ ദ ഫസ്റ്റ് സെറ്റ് ഓഫ് സെൻറ്റൻസസ് ഇസ് കുഡ് ഐ ലീവ് ഏർലി ടുഡേ ആൻഡ് കുഡ് ഐ യൂസ് യുവർ computer for a while. So what is the difference? എന്താണ് അതിൻ്റെ meaning difference? Could I what is the use of could here? കേട്ടില്ല.
Asking permission.
Asking permission.
റിക്വസ്റ്റ് ആയിട്ട്
Asking permission.
യെസ് റിക്വസ്റ്റ് ആണ്, ആസ്കിങ് പെർമിഷൻ ആണ്. ഇതൊക്കെ സോഷ്യൽ ഫങ്ഷൻസ് ഓഫ് ലാംഗ്വേജ് വരുന്നതാണ്. അപ്പം നമ്മളൊരു സോഷ്യൽ ഫങ്ഷൻ യൂസ് ചെയ്യുമ്പോൾ ഒന്നിന് പകരം വേറൊന്ന് യൂസ് ചെയ്യുമ്പോൾ അവിടെ മീനിങ്ങിൽ മാറ്റം വരും, ഒരുപാട് മാറ്റങ്ങൾ വരും. പെർമിഷൻ പല രീതിയിൽ ചോദിക്കാം. ആനായി പെർമിഷൻ ചോദിക്കലാണ്. ബൈ പെർമിഷൻ ചോദിക്കലാണ്. These all these three, can I, could I, may I, they are all asking for permission. Then what is the difference? മൂന്നും പെർമിഷൻ ആണെങ്കിൽ എന്താണ് അതിൻ്റെ ഒരു ഡിഫറൻസ്? സിറ്റുവേഷൻ ആണ്. ഓക്കെ, സിറ്റുവേഷൻ ആണ്. Situation ആണ്. But can you explain further? Anybody can explain? It is the degree. It is the degree of formality or the degree of politeness. There is a change in the degree of politeness. As Bama said, it is also about the situation. So we'll come to the situation later. First, I will describe how there is a degree of the difference in the degree of politeness. ഈ മൂന്നെണ്ണത്തിൻ്റെ degree of politeness ഏതാണ് ഏറ്റവും highly polite എന്ന് പറയാൻ പറ്റുമോ? Highest degree of politeness. Yes, Aisha. May I ആണ് highest. Yes, highest degree of politeness may I ആണ്. Yes, many people have typed also. Second, first may I, second ഏതാണ്? Could I, and third is can I. Yes, second is could I and third is can I. So this is the change in the degree of politeness. അപ്പോൾ മൂന്നിനും ഒരേ മീനിങ് ആണെന്ന് വിചാരിച്ചിട്ട് we cannot use it interchangeably at every place. Just because it has the same meaning, it is asking permission, but I cannot use it at random anywhere. I cannot use one for the other in any situation. As Mama said, it is also related to situation. If I ask my friend, may I borrow your pen, and നമ്മുടെ ഫ്രണ്ടിനോട് ചോദിച്ചു കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ നമ്മളെ തുറച്ചു നോക്കും. Because with friends we don't use such language. We tell our friend, can I borrow your pen? So in situations also, what kind of situation, who are you talking to? If you are talking to a friend, you don't use may I, you use can I. So according to the situation also this changes. So in semi-formal situations, you say could I. Very extremely formal situations, you say may I. So we have to get an idea, an inkling, an understanding of the situation, and then if we use this, then it will be correct. Okay. So could I leave early is somewhere in between can I and may I. It is a formal. It is a formal usage. Can I is informal. Okay. The next one is so these are both of them are asking for permission. Can I could I leave early today and could I use your computer for a while? Both of them are indicating asking for permission. So the rule is the second rule. Can and could are used for asking for permission. Okay, the next one, passengers can get a transit visa at the Dubai airport. 100 years ago, women couldn't vote. Passengers can get a transit visa at the Dubai airport. 100 years ago, women couldn't vote. അപ്പോൾ ഇവിടെ ക്യാനും കുഡും is not used for permission. ഇവിടെ it is used in a different sense. അത് ഈ 4 റൂൾസ് താഴെ ബോക്സിൽ കൊടുത്തിട്ടുള്ള 4 റൂൾസിൽ ഏതാണെന്നുള്ളത്. Yes, Nishida, you are right. It is talking about rules. Can and that is the first rule. Can and could are used to talk about rules made by someone. So they can get a transit visa means it is permitted. There is a rule that you can get a transit visa from the airport itself. So you don't have to uh, carry a visa with you. You can get a visa stamped on your passport or stamped from the airport when you arrive there. So that is the rule of rule that of the airport. It is a can here indicates the rule. Similarly, when you talk about something past, then could is used. The past rule. മുമ്പുണ്ടായിരുന്ന rule. 100 years ago, women couldn't rule. So it indicates the rule in the past. Only men could vote. So then there was, if you have learned in history, it was called suffragette movement. Suffragette movement. There was a woman suffragette movement which was held to so that women could get suffrage. Suffrage is right to vote. That is suffrage. Right to vote. So everybody has a right to vote today, but it was not like that many years ago. So this is about a rule, talking about rules in the past. Okay, and the next is the use of have been able to. It has been a good year for investors. They ഇവിടെ ഒരു ചെറിയ കറക്ഷൻ ഉണ്ട്. They have been able to എന്നാണ്. They have been able to എന്നാണ്. They have been able to. There's a correction you have to make. They have been able to recover the money they lost in the stock market last year. For printing a run, it has been a good year for investors. They have been able to recover the money they lost in the stock market last year. I have been able to make use of my weekend to attend to some personal work. So this is be able to. The use of be able to. They have been able to. I have been able to. So this is always used in the present perfect tense. So here it is. The rule is the third rule. Be able to is used in the present perfect tense. Present perfect means it will have the form of have. That is, if it is singular, it will be has. If it is plural, it will be have. So have been able to or has. If she angle, she has been able to. So the present perfect tense is used. So so it indicates present ability, the ability of achieving something. That is indicated by be able to, ability. It indicates ability. So it has been a good year for investors. They have been able to recover the money they lost in the stock market last year. സാധിച്ചു, അവർക്ക് സാധിച്ചു എന്നുള്ളതാണ്. I have been able to, എനിക്ക് സാധിച്ചു. I have been able to make use of my weekend to attend to some personal work. Look here, we had been talking of attending to, attend to, and attending to, attending a course, attend to some personal work, give attention to. Here he is not participating, he is giving attention to something. So this term has come here, attend to. So I have been able to make use of weekend to attend to some personal work. The last one is, we reached the airport half an hour late, so we couldn't catch the 5 o'clock flight. So the rule is negative sentences describing an ability resulting in a particular action. You can use couldn't, wasn't, were able to, etc. But in positive sentences describing an ability resulting in a particular action, only was able to, or were able to can be used. So this is a clarification for the rule that we discussed in the previous class. Positive ആയിട്ടുള്ള sentences, when something happens because of something, only was able to or were able to can be used. In singular ആണെങ്കിൽ was able to, plural ആണെങ്കിൽ were able to. But in negative sentences you can use I couldn't or I wasn't able to. ഇത് രണ്ടും മാറി മാറി യൂസ് ചെയ്യാം നെഗറ്റീവ് സെൻറ്റൻസസ് ആണെങ്കിൽ. പോസിറ്റീവ് സെൻറ്റൻസസ് ആണെങ്കിൽ, so that was the error that was made by Canon. He was using a positive sentence and yet he was using could. Positive sentences, when something happens because of an action, you cannot use couldn't. Instead of couldn't, we should use was able to, or plural ആണെങ്കിൽ were able to. Okay, next, so let us have a close look at these auxiliaries, or rather modal auxiliaries. രണ്ട് തരത്തിലുള്ള auxiliaries ഉണ്ട്. Auxiliaries are helping verbs, auxiliaries. Type it once again, auxiliary. We have auxiliary. This is singular, plural. So there are two kinds of auxiliaries. I mean, there are two kinds of verbs. It is main verbs and auxiliary. What do you mean by auxiliary verbs? Auxiliary verbs എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ എന്താണ്? ഇല്ലില്ല, സ്ക്രീൻ ചേഞ്ച് ചെയ്തിട്ടില്ല. സ്ക്രീൻ അതേ സ്ക്രീൻ തന്നെ, വേറെ സ്ക്രീൻ ഇട്ടിട്ടില്ല. അതിന് മുന്നേ ഒന്ന് ഡിസ്കസ് ചെയ്യാൻ വേണ്ടിയിട്ടാണ് ഞാൻ ഇതിലിട്ടിരിക്കുകയാണ്, ചാറ്റ് ബോക്സിൽ ഇട്ടിട്ടുണ്ട് ഓക്സിലറീസ്. ഓക്സിലറീസ് എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ ഹെൽപ്പിംഗ് വേർബ്സ് ആണ്. അതായത് ആരെ ഹെൽപ്പ് ചെയ്യുന്നത്? മെയിൻ വെർബിനെ ഹെൽപ്പ് ചെയ്യുന്ന വേർബ്സ് ആണ് ഓക്സിലറി വേർബ്സ്. ഈ ഓക്സിലറി വേർബ്സ് തന്നെ രണ്ട് തരത്തിലുള്ളതുണ്ട്. ഏതൊക്കെയാണ്? ഫസ്റ്റ് വൺ ഞാൻ പറയാം, പ്രൈമറി ഓക്സിലറീസ്. അതാണ് ഫസ്റ്റ് ടൈപ്പ്. രണ്ടാമത്തെ ടൈപ്പ് എന്താണ്? ഓക്സിലറി വേർബ്സ് രണ്ട് തരത്തിലുണ്ട്. ഒന്ന് പ്രൈമറി ഓക്സിലറീസ് ആണ്, രണ്ടാമത്തത് yes, Adina, it is modal auxiliaries. So you have to see that there is a difference in spelling. Modal alla, modal aanu. Modal means which indicates, yes, yes, Adina, modal aanu. Modal means which indicates the mode. Mode indicate ചെയ്യുന്നത് എന്നും പറയാം, അല്ലെങ്കിൽ മൂഡ് ഇൻഡിക്കേറ്റ് ചെയ്യുന്നത് എന്നും രണ്ട് രീതിയിൽ അതിനെ വ്യാഖ്യാനിക്കാം. മൊഡാൽ എന്ന് എന്തുകൊണ്ട് മൊഡാൽ മീൻസ് ഇറ്റ് ഇൻഡിക്കേറ്റ്സ് ദ മോഡ് ഓഫ് ആക്ഷൻ. Because verbs are action words, it indicates the രീതി. മോഡ് എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ രീതിയാണ്, മോഡ് ഓഫ് ആക്ഷൻ ഓർ ദ മൂഡ് ഓഫ് ദ സിറ്റുവേഷൻ. ആ സിറ്റുവേഷൻ്റെ ഒരു മൂഡ്, ഫീലിംഗ് കാണിക്കുന്നതിന് ഈ രണ്ട് കാരണങ്ങൾ കൊണ്ടാവാം അതിന് മൊഡാൽ എന്ന് പേര് വന്നിട്ടുള്ളത്. സോ ദെർഫോർ ദേ ആർ കോൾഡ് മൊഡാൽ ഓക്സിലറീസ്. Okay, so we primary auxiliaries, there are only 3 primary auxiliaries, but modal auxiliaries many, some 7 8 modal auxiliaries. Primary auxiliaries മൂന്നെണ്ണേ ഉള്ളൂ. പിന്നെ നമ്മൾ കാണുന്ന കാര്യം ഡിഫറെൻറ്റ് ഫോംസ് ആണ്. പ്രൈമറി ഓക്സിലറീസ്, 3 പ്രൈമറി ഓക്സിലറീസ് ഏതൊക്കെയാണെന്ന് പറയാൻ പറ്റും. അത് പഠിച്ചാൽ നമുക്ക് ഇറ്റ് ഈസ് ഈസി ഫോർ us to derive all the other forms of these primary auxiliaries. മൂന്നെണ്ണമാണുള്ളത് പ്രൈമറി ഓക്സിലറീസ്. ബി, ഹാവ് ആൻഡ് ഡു. ഈ മൂന്നെണ്ണമാണ് പ്രൈമറി ഓക്സിലറീസ്. ബിയും ഹാവും ഡൂവും. ബി, ഹാവ്, ഡു. These are the primary auxiliaries. Only 3. All the others are different forms of be, have and do. ബിയുടെ ഫോംസ് ആണ് ഏതൊക്കെ? ഇസ്, ആർ, were, being, been, etc. So there are only 3 primary auxiliaries. All the rest that we see as the primary auxiliaries are only different forms of these 3 primary auxiliaries. Similarly, for have, we can have different forms like has, had, having, etc. They are all different forms of the primary auxiliary have. Similarly, do, does, has done, doing, did, etc. They all come under the third primary auxiliary. So there are only 3 primary auxiliaries. So these primary auxiliaries have just a function of assisting. They have a function of assisting. They do not add any meaning. They do not add any particular meaning to the main verb. പക്ഷേ modal auxiliaries, they indicate the mode of action. They indicate the mood of the action. So there is something extra that happens with modal auxiliaries. Let us look at what happens with modal auxiliaries. What are modal auxiliaries? So now I am going to change the screen. So this is modals. They are helping verbs. ഇവിടെ പറഞ്ഞിട്ടുണ്ടല്ലോ മോഡാണ്. മോഡ് എന്ന് പറയാം. ചില സമയത്ത് ഇറ്റ് ഇൻഡിക്കേറ്റ്സ് ദ മൂഡ് ഓർ ഫീലിംഗ്. സോ they indicates the mood or mode or manner of actions indicated by the main verbs. എന്താണ് അതിൽ വരുന്ന മോഡ്സ് അല്ലെങ്കിൽ മൂഡ്സ്? ഇറ്റ് ക്യാൻ ഇൻഡിക്കേറ്റ് എബിലിറ്റി depending upon the kind of modals that we use. We can have indications of ability, possibility, probability, permission, obligation, etc. Possibility and probability have a similar meaning. They both mean sadhyata. Obligation means something obligatory, something that has to be strictly followed is obligation. നിർബന്ധമായിട്ടുള്ളത് obligation. So depending upon the kind of modals we use, these will change. So we were doing can and could. Canon ഒരുപാട് they have different functions. So let us see what are those different functions of Canon code. Are you able to read? ചെറുതാണോ ടെക്സ്റ്റ്? Are you
Yes,
able
sir.
to read what is there on the screen?
Ah,
വായിക്കാൻ പറ്റും? Okay. Uh-huh. So Canon, it has got different functions, and examples are also given there. When it is used to indicate ability, you say I can complete this work. When it is used to indicate a request, example is can I use your pen? When it is used to describe permission, you can use my pen. When you are asking permission and giving permission, രണ്ടിനും can use same. So asking permission is request, giving permission is you can use my pen. Possibility, this can be done in a few hours. So it is possible to do this work in a few hours. Prohibition, that is stopping by rule. Anything that is stopped by rule is called prohibition. Smoking is prohibited. It is barred by law to smoke here. So you cannot play here. Means there is a rule that you should not play here. So we have discussed that can indicates rules made by someone. യു കനോട്ട് പ്ലേ ഹിയർ എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ എനിക്ക് കളിക്കാൻ പറ്റുമായിരിക്കും, പക്ഷേ നിയമം മൂലം ഇവിടെ നിരോധിച്ചിട്ടുണ്ട്. ഇറ്റ് ഡസൻ മീൻ ദാറ്റ് യു കനോട്ട് ഇവിടെ വന്നാൽ എനിക്ക് പെട്ടെന്ന് കളിക്കാൻ പറ്റാൻ ഇരിക്കുന്നല്ല, അവിടെ പെർമിഷൻ ഇല്ല എന്നുള്ളതാണ്. സോ ഇറ്റ് ഹാസ് നത്തിങ് ടു ഡു വിത്ത് എബിലിറ്റി. സോ യു കനോട്ട് പ്ലേ ഹിയർ ഹാസ് നത്തിങ് ടു ഡു വിത്ത് എബിലിറ്റി. സോ there is a famous joke about a student who asked the teacher, can I go to the washroom? The teacher said, yes. Immediately the student got up. The teacher said, you sit down. So the student was confused. I asked you the permission. Can I go to the washroom? So the teacher said he should have asked, may I, instead of can I. So in a formal situation, may I is the permission function. Can I can be used only in informal situations. So though both indicate a request, can be used only in informal situations. So it is permission, and prohibition. You cannot play here is prohibition. So could also has all these functions. Whatever functions can has, could also has, and has slightly difference. For example, when you give advice, etc., could is used. So could is also indicated, used to indicate ability. For example, I could do this if I were not blind. I could do this if I were not blind. If I were not blind, I could do this. Because I am blind, I am not able to do this. Polite request. Could you lend me your pen? So here we have request. Then when it is could, it is more polite request. The most polite would be may I. So can I, could I, may I. Polite request, could you lend me your pen? Possibility, it could be run if rain did not interrupt. You could consult a specialist. Could I go to the movie? That is advice. You could consult a specialist is advice. Giving advice to someone. Permission. Asking for permission, polite way. Could I go to the movie, Dad? Desire. Can indicate desire also. I wish I could become a scientist. The next two pairs of modals are may and might. May I come in, sir? Asking for permission. So when you compare can, could, and may is the most polite form of asking permission. May I come in, sir? Instead of asking, can I come in or could I come in? This is considered to be the most polite form. May I? Possibility. It may rain today. Prayer. May God bless you. Ashamsiക്കുന്നു. Felicitating somebody. May God bless you. Wish. May you live long. So the other form of may is might. It is another modal auxiliary. Might indicates speculation. That is also a possibility which did not happen. A possibility that could have happened but did not happen. He might have done if he had a chance. Chance കിട്ടിയില്ല. ചാൻസ് കിട്ടിയിരുന്നെങ്കിൽ അയാൾ ചെയ്തേനെ. So he might have done it if he had a chance. അപ്പോൾ ചെയ്തിട്ടുണ്ടോ? ഇപ്പോൾ ചെയ്തിട്ടില്ല. ഇറ്റ് ഇസ് ഓൾ സ്പെക്കുലേഷൻ. അങ്ങനെ ആയിരുന്നെങ്കിൽ ഇങ്ങനെ ആയേനെ എന്ന് പറയുന്നതാണ് സ്പെക്കുലേഷൻ. പക്ഷെ അങ്ങനെ സംഭവിച്ചിട്ടില്ല. So he might have done it if he had a chance. Did he get a chance? No, he didn't get a chance. But if he had got a chance, he might have done it. So this is speaking about past possibility. Past possibility. So the time is now gone, but they are talking of what could have happened in the past. Suggestion. You might travel by air rather than by road. You might travel by. This is a very polite form of suggesting. Instead of saying you could travel by air, എന്ന് പറയുന്നതിനേക്കാളും കുറച്ചുകൂടെ പൊളൈറ്റ് ആയിട്ടുള്ള ഫോമാണ് യു മൈറ്റ് ട്രാവൽ ബൈ എയർ ദാൻ ബൈ റോഡ്. പെർമിഷൻ. Might I say a few words? Very, very polite way of asking. Might I say a few words? It's a very polite way. May I say? This is but very rarely used. Usually we ask may I. But if there is no possibility, if you think that there is no possibility of your getting a permission, you are asking it very politely. Might I say a few words? Reproach is scolding. Reproach is scolding. Scold. Reproach. You might tell the truth. You might tell the truth means you must tell the truth. You have to tell the truth. You should tell the truth. അങ്ങനെ പറയാതിരുന്ന രക്ഷയില്ല എന്നുള്ളതാണ്. So it is a kind of scolding. Order also. You might leave the room now. So these two have similar meanings, approach and order. You might leave the room now means you are very formal situation where somebody asks you to get out. Instead of asking the very strong words, instead of telling the very strong words, the speaker is actually asking to get out in a very formal manner. You might leave the room now. Okay, about may and might, they both are used to indicate possibility. Okay, so I can say it may rain today. I can also say it might rain today. I have a question for you. Is there any difference in these two sentences? It may rain today, it might rain today. എന്തെങ്കിലും വ്യത്യാസമുണ്ടോ?
Sir, it may rain today എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞൊരു possible.
മുഴുവനായില്ലോ പറഞ്ഞോ. It may rain today എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ
ഒരു പോസിബിലിറ്റി
ഉണ്ട്, പോസിബിലിറ്റി ഉണ്ട്. ഓക്കെ, ഇറ്റ് മൈറ്റ് റെയിൻ ടുഡേ എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ രണ്ടാമത്തെ
ചിലപ്പം ഒരു എന്താ പറയാ സജഷൻ ആണ്.
Okay, what you have said is correct. There is a difference in possibility. അല്ലേ, അതല്ലേ ഉദ്ദേശിച്ചത്? There is a difference in possibility. Yes, it is correct. What is the difference in possibility is may and might both are used to indicate possibility, but might indicates remote possibility. Okay, might indicates remote possibility. Remote possibility in Malayalam എന്താണ്? Might indicates remote possibility. പോസിബിലിറ്റി. വിദൂരമായ സാധ്യത എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ സാധ്യത വളരെ കുറവാണ് എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ ഇറ്റ് മേ റെയിൻ ടുഡേ എന്ന് ഞാൻ പറഞ്ഞാലും ഇറ്റ് മൈറ്റ് റെയിൻ ടുഡേ എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാലും രണ്ടും പോസിബിലിറ്റിയാണ്. പക്ഷേ ഇറ്റ് മൈറ്റ് റെയിൻ ടുഡേ എന്ന് പറയുന്നതിന് സാധ്യത വളരെ കുറവാണ്. എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ മഴ പെയ്യാൻ സാധ്യത കുറവാണ്. സോ ക്യാന്, കുഡ്, മേയെ, മൈറ്റ് ഇതെല്ലാം പോസിബിലിറ്റി ഇൻഡിക്കേറ്റ് ചെയ്യാൻ പറയുമെങ്കിലും ഏറ്റവും സാധ്യത കുറവ് ഇൻഡിക്കേറ്റ് ചെയ്യുമ്പോഴാണ് നമ്മൾ മൈറ്റ് പറയുന്നത്. എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ അധികവും പെയ്യാതിരിക്കാനാണ് സാധ്യത മൈറ്റ് എന്ന് യൂസ് ചെയ്താൽ. സോ ഐ ആം ടോക്കിംഗ് ഓഫ് റിമോട്ട് പോസിബിലിറ്റി. So it might rain today. So it indicates a remote possibility. So there is more possibility when I say it may rain today. So we can also create a gradation of possibility when I talk about, when I say uh, I can rain, could rain, may rain, and might rain. It can rain today, it could rain today, it may rain today, it might rain today. It can rain today എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ the possibility is, the speaker feels that the possibility is very high. When the speaker feels that the possibility is less, then he says it could rain today. When it is even more less, then he says it may rain today. It is more least when I say it might rain today. So this is the gradation in possibility. It is the difference in the possibility. So the ഏറ്റവും കൂടുതൽ പോസിബിലിറ്റി ഞാൻ പറയുമ്പോൾ ക്യാൻ ആണ്, അത് കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ കുഡ് ആണ്, ദെൻ മേ, ദെൻ മൈറ്റ്. Yes, am I making myself clear to you?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thanks for the response. So we move on to the next one. Shall and should. So that is the next set of modals. So I shall visit your place tomorrow. It has the same meaning as I will visit your place tomorrow. Then what is the difference? I shall visit your place tomorrow. I will visit your place tomorrow. Same meaning. Future is talking about the future. The difference is in the formality. This is a formal way of saying I shall visit your place tomorrow. Friends-നോട് പറയില്ല. ഫ്രണ്ട്സിനോട് പറയുമ്പോൾ I will visit your place tomorrow എന്ന് പറയും. But in a formal situation, we say I shall visit. Compulsion. You shall do it now. Or order. Compulsion and order, they are both indicated by shall. Determination. The army shall fight to the last. Order. You shall not make a noise here. Means you are not permitted to make a noise here. Assurance means promise. The cadets shall fall in at 6 p.m. Command. Shall I pick you up on the way? Desire. Shall I pick you? I shall pick you up on. There is a correction there. Question allada. I shall pick you up on the way. അടുത്തതാണ് shall I pick you up on the way. That is indicating desire. Permission. Shall we visit the zoo? A very formal way of asking permission. Shall we visit the zoo? It is similar to may we visit the zoo. So when you are asking shall we are actually inviting the person who we are asking to also to join us to visit the zoo. Shall we visit the zoo? Should is the past form of shall. It is used to give advice. We should listen to our elders. It is used to indicate possibility. He should be in the house now. സാധ്യതയുണ്ട്, indicating possibility. Request. Should you like to come with me? Are you interested to? Come with me. Permission. Should I wake you up at dawn? Is it necessary for you that I will wake you up in the morning? Duty. Students should prepare their lessons. So these are the two sets of the next two sets of modals, shall and should. So we discussed can, could, may, might, shall, should. The next one is will, would. Both indicate future, but they are used in different senses. They will leave tomorrow. Will indicates habit also. She will sit up the whole night. That is every day. Every night she sits up and studies. Request. Will you please show me the way? Then it is an order also. Will you keep quiet? Because it will be used in the form of an order. Can use to promise, I will teach you the guitar, or it can also be a warning, I will teach you a lesson. So it can be a threat also. It can be also be a promise. ചില സമയത്ത് ത്രെറ്റ് ആവും. ഐ വിൽ ടീച്ച് യു എ ലെസൺ എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ ഐ എം ത്രച്ചനിങ് യു, ഭീഷണിപ്പെടുത്താണ്, അല്ലെങ്കിൽ ഒരു വാർണിംഗ് തരാണ്. പക്ഷേ അതേസമയം ഐ വിൽ ടീച്ച് യു ദ ഗിറ്റാർ എന്ന് പറയുമ്പോൾ ഇറ്റ് ഇസ് എ പ്രോമിസ്. സോ ഇറ്റ് ക്യാൻ ബി യൂസ്ഡ് ഇൻ നെഗറ്റീവ് സെൻറ്റൻസസ് ഓൾസോ. സോ ഐ വിൽ ടീച്ച് യു എ ലെസൺ എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ ഇവിടെ ഒരു നെഗറ്റീവ് സെൻസ്, നിന്നെ ഞാൻ ഒരു പാഠം പഠിപ്പിക്കുന്ന പറയില്ല, ആ ഒരു മീനിങ്ങിലാണ്. ഇറ്റ് ഈസ് എ ത്രെറ്റ്. അല്ലാതെ ഏതെങ്കിലും ഒരു ലെസൺ എടുത്തു തരാം എന്നല്ല. ഐ എം ഗോയിങ് ടു give you some shock. That is the warning here. Determination, I will not surrender. Possibility, you will miss the train. ഇതിൽ വളരെ സാധ്യത വളരെ വളരെ കൂടുതലാണ്. യു വിൽ മിസ് ദ ട്രെയിൻ എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ മിക്കവാറും ട്രെയിൻ കിട്ടില്ല. So desire, determination, invitation, habit, request and wishes also can be indicated by would. I would like to have a cup of tea. It is a very polite form of request. I would like to have. Desire. Nobody would agree with you indicates determination. Invitation. Would you like a cup of tea? I am inviting you to have a cup of tea. Habit. My father would bathe in the pond. My father would bathe in pond. Bathe in pond. That is his habit. കുളത്തിൽ കുളിക്കുകയാണ്. റിക്വസ്റ്റ്. വുഡ് യു ഹെൽപ്പ് മീ വിത്ത് ദിസ് വർക്ക്? ആൻഡ് വിഷ്. ഐ വിഷ് ദേ വുഡ് സ്റ്റോപ്പ് ടീച്ചിങ് മീ. Certainty. You must come before sunset. Must and ought to. So can, could, may, might, shall, should, and now we have must and ought to. They have similar meaning. Must indicates certainty. You must come before sunset. Obligation also. Inquire. Must you go now? Is it necessary for you to go now? ആവശ്യം ഉണ്ടോ എന്നാണ്. Is it necessary? Must here has the meaning of is it necessary. Promise. I must be loyal to my country. Determination. I must pay up my debt. Every man must die. It is a universal rule. When you talk about universal rules, സാർവലൗകികമായിട്ടുള്ള സത്യങ്ങൾ, then must is used. തീർച്ചയായിട്ടുള്ള കാര്യമാണ്, ഡെഫിനറ്റ് ആണ്. Every man must die one day or the other. It's only a matter of time. Obligation. Kush must finish his task. Nirbandham. Prohibition. You must not smoke. Ought to is indicating duty or possibility. When it is speaking about duty, it is you ought to help the poor. When we are talking about possibility, he ought to have reached the airport by now. It is like saying he must have reached the airport by now. It has the same meaning. If you say he must have reached the airport by now, or he ought to have reached the airport by now, they both have the same meaning. And the last three modals are dare, need, and ought to. In these, dare and need are also used as main verbs. Main verbs are also known as principal verbs. മെയിൻ വേർബ്സ് ആയിട്ടും ഡെയറും നീഡും യൂസ് ചെയ്യും. ബാക്കിയുള്ളതെല്ലാം ഓക്സിലറീസ് ആയിട്ട് മാത്രമേ ഉള്ളൂ. സോ വേർ ഇസ് ഡെയർ യൂസ്ഡ് ആസ് എ മെയിൻ വേർബ്, ഇറ്റ് ഈസ് ഇൻ ദ സെൻറ്റൻസ് ലൈക്ക് ഐ ഡെയർ യു, ഞാൻ നിന്നെ വെല്ലുവിളിക്കുന്നു എന്നുള്ള അർത്ഥത്തിൽ it is used as a main verb. But in all other situations, it is used as an auxiliary verb or as a helping verb. Auxiliary verb, example, he dare not tell me lies. ധൈര്യമില്ലാന്ന് എന്നോട് പറയാൻ ധൈര്യമില്ല. ഡെയർ മീൻസ് ധൈര്യപ്പെടുക എന്നുള്ളതാണ്. He dare not to tell me lies. Need is also sometimes used as a principal verb. I need your help. I am requesting for your help. In all other situations, it is used as an auxiliary verb where it indicates the necessity of something. He need not go there means it is not necessary for him to go there. So need indicates, as an auxiliary verb, it indicates necessity of doing something or indulging in any action. And used to is always indicated to speak about uh, past actions or getting familiar with certain situations. Past actions പറയുമ്പോൾ ഐ യൂസ്ഡ് ടു റൈറ്റ് എ ലോട്ട് എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ ഞാൻ പണ്ട് ഒരുപാട് എഴുതുമായിരുന്നു. Another usage of used to is penguins are used to cold climate. So used to is normally used to they indicate past ability. I used to write a lot. So these are the different modal auxiliaries. We will do some exercises on modal auxiliaries in the next class. Do we have any questions on this? Any questions on what we have discussed so far? Okay, so in the next session, we will take up some examples, some sentences, which will make us very clear of what these modal auxiliaries are. So when we do actual words, actual sentences, how these are used, that will make these rules very clear to us. So till then, it's goodbye. Have a nice day. Bye.